response? I mean, these were not just bad results for Labour. These were disastrous results. You know, governments normally, after they win a major majority, they normally get a bit of a breathing space and a bit of a political honeymoon after that. That hasn't happened. These were absolutely catastrophic. It's getting worse. Yeah. And you know, the other thing is, we are only 10 months into this government. This is a government that has a majority of 170. If the government U-turns the first time they hit serious political trouble, and if the government are seen to effectively be on the run from their own backbenchers, then obviously Keir Starmer's authority will be destroyed and Rachel Reeves' authority will be destroyed. Yeah. And moving forward, once backbenchers and Labour backbenchers realise they can push this leadership around, then they'll keep pushing them.
Yeah.
So,
and then there'll cease to be any use. But I mean, my argument would be they're already no use, really. And I mean, an awful lot of what they've done has been proven to be disastrous. They just haven't worked it out yet. I mean, for Keir Starmer to respond on Friday to that drubbing that he got at the local elections by saying, we obviously haven't made our changes fast enough, and so we're going to go faster and harder, is kind of like somebody said to me, it's akin to a guy driving a coach towards the cliff edge and putting his foot down, you know?
Yeah, I mean, on Thursday, Keir Starmer was the guy who got pulled over by the police for doing 100 up the M1. Said, "Very sorry, officer." Drove off and sped up to. Said, "I'm going to go and speed up to 120."
Yeah.
You know.
Keir Starmer sensed the massacre approaching. That's why he attempted everything to postpone the municipal elections. Yet nothing could prevent it, because once ballots were counted, it wasn't merely disastrous for Labour. It was a political extinction. Nigel Farage's Reform UK didn't simply achieve gains. They steamrolled over both Labour and Conservatives, seizing councils, capturing hundreds of positions, and sending tremors across Westminster. Labour was disgraced. The Conservatives were obliterated. And Reform, they are only beginning. Now Farage is planning his following step, and it might send Keir Starmer packing for good. But how did we reach this point? What unfolded on election night that flipped Britain's political map completely? In this video, let's unpack it. This isn't simply a figure of speech. This is Starmer's whole leadership approach revealed in one line. When confronted with ruin, he leans harder on the exact mistakes that produced it. That is not courage. It's an illusion drifting into pride. The municipal contests were a siren warning. And rather than hearing it, Starmer slammed the accelerator. Why? Because he's obsessed with bureaucracy.
The message I take away from these results is we must deliver that change even more quickly. We must go even further. I believe for some time that's the case. I'm reinforced in these results that that's what we've got to do. So yes, I could do the traditional opposition parties always do well in these sorts of things. But actually for me, it's deeper than that, which is, yes, we get it. We're going to deliver that change more quickly and go further.
We're going to deliver that shift faster and push harder. He claimed he would push harder in pursuing what he has achieved up to now. And what exactly has he achieved until now? Well, everybody sees the UK has been dragged to the edge of breakdown. Yet Starmer confuses obstinacy with resolve because he cannot concede he was mistaken, not even when citizens shouted to his face. This instant defines everything. Starmer isn't responding to electoral collapse. He is steering the nation straight into the blaze with a grin across his face. And what makes it harsher? He believes this is direction. And when you disregard the fire, it spreads.
I mean, look at what the response was. I mean, these were not just bad results for Labour. These were disastrous results. You know, governments normally, after they win a major majority, they normally get a bit of a breathing space and a bit of a political honeymoon after that. That hasn't happened. These were absolutely catastrophic results. And what was Labour's response to being given an absolute shellacking, not at the hands of the Tories, but at Nigel Farage? And we had Keir Starmer going out saying, "I'm going to go further and faster." Then we had a senior member of his shadow cabinet going out saying, "Oh, all these people who are expressing concern about the rape gangs are dog whistling." Yeah. I mean, you couldn't have had a more cack-handed response.
Let's call this what it truly was: a complete breakdown of public confidence. Labour didn't receive a cautionary signal. They were dragged into the centre square and disgraced. Municipal elections aren't even meant to carry this weight. And still, they unleashed a national reckoning. Why? Because the people finally pierced the polished exterior and uncovered the reality. Labour is no longer the movement of ordinary workers. It's the machine of PR stunts, evasive rhetoric, and political timidity. When you promise hope and deliver policy stagnation, this is the result. Citizens defecting in droves to the first figure who dares speak something genuine. Starmer's Labour isn't plagued by weak communication. It's plagued by ethical bankruptcy. Before we move ahead, tell us, are you finding the video valuable? If yes, please like and share. And subscribe to our channel for more exclusive updates on the seismic shifts shaping British politics. Let's proceed now, and when ethical decay sets in, it rises upward to the very peak.
But it's not just cack-handed. I think it's indicative of what's going to happen. I think Keir Starmer, I mean, I wrote this the day after the results.
Yeah.
I do think, actually, when we come back and look at the history of Keir Starmer and the history of this government, I do think last week will be seen as the beginning of the end for him.
Yeah.
Not because Labour's position is necessarily sort of irrecoverable. Obviously, we're so far out from the next election. Not because there aren't things that can be done. Not because, there's huge love for reform or any other political parties, but because I just don't think I've seen no evidence that Keir Starmer has the political nous to actually understand what he has to do to confront a reform insurgency. If his political problems were coming from the
Starmer was meant to be the adult, the steady guide, the figure who could rebuild Labour after the Corbyn collapse. But what has he turned into? A technocrat in an era of fury, a functionary in an era of conflict. This isn't about left or right, it's about bravery. Reform UK didn't defeat Starmer because they carried superior plans. They defeated him because he represents nothing. No spirit, no nerve, just shallow catchphrases wrapped in empty signals. The British public don't want another spreadsheet operator. They want someone who recognizes the blaze and refuses to flee. But instead of rising, Starmer follows the path all fragile leaders take when the vessel begins sinking. And for that, he will be judged by the Labour Party.
I'm told there are already conversations going on about replacing her, even as...
Yeah, there are. And but the question is now, can Keir Starmer deal with the Nigel Farage threat? And I just don't think he's the sort of politician who can. I just don't think he's the sort of politician who can deal with a popular insurgency like this.
No, he can't, because he doesn't understand it, for a start. He doesn't understand why people feel the way they do. And you say there's no great love for reform. There is a sort of a band of brothers-like sort of sense, though, with reform. And I say that as somebody who, sits here every day. Obviously I know an awful lot of our listeners and viewers are likely to be reform voters. But there was a real sense of a new beginning on Friday. People were really pleased. They were really happy. For the first time they could see light at the end of the tunnel. They hate the two parties that have been running governments for so long in their lifetimes. They particularly hate right now Keir Starmer with a visceral nature that I've never seen before, because of what he's doing, and largely driven by immigration, as you say, but also by quite a few other things. And I think that, the longer he stays in, the bigger that wave becomes.
Yes, Labour isn't waiting for electoral ruin. They have already begun slicing up the corpse. And here's the most damning detail. Starmer doesn't even notice. He's too occupied drafting his next harmless post, too consumed with not upsetting the Guardian, too terrified to address the public directly. His own MPs sent blood, and it's leaking from his office. This isn't factional warfare. It's survival instinct. Starmer is an anchor dragging the party into darkness, and the party is gradually recognizing it. What we are witnessing is not a man under stress. It's a man who has already surrendered control, who values nothing. And the alternative, which has always been the Conservatives, is also failing to grasp what the people desire.
There is still an issue of just head in the sand politics, right? I mean, from both the Tory, as I said, what Kemi Badenoch thinks she's doing and thinks she's been doing as Tory leader, I don't know. But she's just completely incapable. She's like a rabbit stuck in the headlights with this reform threat. But again, we've come out of the local elections. You've spoken about it. We've seen it in the papers. Labour MPs are pivoting to talk about winter fuel.
Yeah.
Now, that was an issue on the doorsteps. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But there's a reason why Labour MPs are talking about winter fuel. It's because they're more comfortable talking about winter fuel.
Yeah.
Winter fuel is a policy area that exists within their comfort zone. And they just are incapable of grasping the nettle on what the biggest single issue facing the Labour Party, facing the Conservative Party, facing the British political class is, which is immigration.
And that's the problem for them.
Unless Labour, and it will have to be Labour, there's nothing the Tories can do. I mean, they can get rid of Kemi Badenoch, bring in Robert Jenrick, that might help a little bit. But nobody's going to listen over the next few years to more warm words from the Conservatives.
Both Labour and Conservatives understand the issues. However, Conservatives failed to fix them, and Keir Starmer now seems unwilling to fix them. Labour is powerless because they are culpable. They have spent 10 years deceiving the public about immigration. Every worry was branded racist. Every objection brushed aside. While neighbourhoods were falling apart, Labour MPs were busy snapping selfies at refugee centres. Now that judgment has arrived, they have no moral credibility left. Citizens want borders. Labour wants open ones. Citizens want law and order. Labour wants diversity seminars. That divide isn't a mistake. It's ideological decay, and the people recognise it. That's why when Labour attempts to speak about policy, nobody trusts them anymore.
Keir Starmer and his ministers need to understand is this. It's over now, right? There are two options here. Either the Labour government gets to grip with the issue of immigration, the issue of the small boats, the issue of the grooming gangs, or in 3 or 4 years' time, a new government run by Nigel Farage, possibly in some sort of alliance with Robert Jenrick, will do that. The British people are not going to listen to any more deflection and any more excuses now. They want these issues gripped. They're not going to be bought off with, well, we know you've expressed concern about immigration, but here are some breakfast clubs.
We're going to stop the boats.
We're going to all these Labour MPs running around saying, oh, what do we do about Nigel Farage? What do we do about reform? What do we do about the backlash? This is it. You've got to grip the issues that the British public say they want you to grip, not the issues that you want to grip on behalf of.
Every uprising has a moment when the crowd stops waiting. This is that point. No more breakfast gatherings. No more staged photos. No more. We hear you. The British public handed Labour every opportunity, and they squandered it all. Labour possessed the mandate to repair this nation. Instead, they hid behind slogans. They held the votes. Instead, they chose silence. Now Farage doesn't even need to persuade anyone. He only has to say, look at them, and people agree, because they have already decided. And at the center of it all is a man so detached, so deceived, he still imagines he's winning.
Is in which politicians say, we know you say you want this, but trust us, we know what's best for you, so we're going to give you something else instead. And then when we do that, you'll thank us for us and realise we were right all along. It just doesn't work.
If you want to know about how deluded Keir Starmer actually is, and if you saw this is a clip I picked up at the weekend, actually, of him being interviewed for a podcast by Nick Robinson on the BBC. Check it out.
Can now change the country for the better. And what do? You make promises you can't keep and don't really intend to keep, and you don't do the change that's needed in the country. I feel very strongly, if you're not going to deliver, if you're not going to keep your promises, don't do it.
This isn't just laughable, it's frightening. He's truly delusional. He believes he's succeeding. He believes people admire him. He believes slogans can replace vision. This is the type of politician who drives a nation over a cliff and then wonders why citizens are screaming. What's worse is that he's convinced it's working. That's not leadership. That's mental isolation. And it makes him dangerous because he's still at the helm and he's still pulling Labour down with him. And when the country finally casts the dice, Labour won't even be an option.
It doesn't matter what they say about Nigel Farage, how fit Nigel Farage, how much of a fraud Nigel Farage is, how wacky some of Nigel Farage's activists and councillors and candidates are. They're simply going to say, we've got nothing to lose. We've tried the Tories time after time. We've tried Labour time after time. We've got an alternative here. I don't know whether Nigel Farage will make a good Prime Minister or a bad Prime Minister, but what the hell? Why not roll the dice? That's what people are going to say, unless the Labour Party can start and the government can start to get to grips with, as I say, the issues that the British people are saying they want them to get.
It's not about supporting Farage. It's about rejecting the establishment. And Starmer embodies the establishment. He is what citizens want to tear down. He is what they aim to replace. He's not the reliable choice. He's the anchor. And now voters are declaring we have nothing left to lose. And when citizens reach that stage, nothing, no policy, no speech, No makeover can win them back.
Absolutely.
This idea of we're just going to carry on, we're going to go further and faster with what we've been doing for the last 10 months. I mean, forget it.
I know.
I mean, forget it. I know Starmer's strategy is to take everything that failed, everything that collapsed, everything that triggered the revolt, and do even more of it. He doesn't understand it. He never will. And that's why this isn't just Labour's crisis. It's Starmer's legacy. A failed movement led by a man who couldn't read the room, couldn't sense the pulse, and couldn't confront reality. What do you think? Is it over for Keir Starmer and Labour? Do you believe the next election will officially signal that the era of two-party dominance in the UK is finished? In the comments below, share your thoughts on Starmer's record when he misled voters in the general election, but failed to succeed now in the local contests. Do you want to see more videos like this one? If so, please like and share, and subscribe for more updates on British politics and the events reshaping it. Until the next video, stay tuned.